Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Harris Hikers Pod. So the last couple weeks have been kind of crazy because wedding planning, Bryce moving in, just there's a lot going on, but I'm going to give you all the tea today. First and foremost, I have to preface this by saying that I didn't grow up thinking I was going to get married. It's not that I thought I wasn't going to get married. I just didn't have this vision of glory in getting married and the beautiful wedding, the Pinterest board that most high school, junior high girls have. I love that for you if you did that for your wedding. I think that's excellent and you've been dreaming about it, go off. However, I wasn't. I was in the classroom sitting down in a lesson while girls were probably dreaming about their Prince Charming coming to rescue them. I was dreaming of hiking up a mountain. I was dreaming of getting out of the classroom, going to the nearest mountain, the nearest valley, and frolicking up the mountain in the valley. You know what I'm talking about. And I felt like I was kind of dreaming of more of an adventurous life, which if it did include getting married, great. If it didn't, that was fine too. So I just didn't really have a prepared plan for how my wedding was going to look like most girls do. Also, as I was growing up, I realized that weddings were very rooted in tradition, which rightfully so. I'm a Christian and I get the meaning of getting married, totally get it. I'm on board. However, the historical traditions around getting married felt very rooted in misogyny for me. And so that was also another thing that kind of turned me off the whole idea of marriage. It was the father is giving me away as if I'm property. So there was a lot of things that and now I can get married and know that those traditions mean what I want them to mean, but it just felt a little sus in my eyes growing up. So flash forward to my early 20s, I meet Bryce and I'm okay, I'm probably gonna marry this guy. And so this is when the wheels start to become turning of what I would want my wedding to look like. Because I know for sure I do not want it to be traditional because it's just not who I am. Not to mention, I sometimes feel like weddings are just boring. And not all weddings. I've been to some really great weddings, but I just feel the same thing happens. The this, the that, the cocktail hour. I'm oh my Lord, this is the rhythm was just weddings felt very monotonous and they didn't seem like my vibe, if that makes sense. A type 2 fun type of vibe. Which weddings aren't supposed to be type 2 fun, so it's fine, but that's just kind of my thing. I wanted something non-traditional. So I get engaged and I started talking to my parents about what I'm wanting to do. And something about my parents is that they're the best party planners ever, specifically my mom. She's just a woman of many talents. She can plan a party. That's one of them. So I was talking to them about it and what my vision and what I was wanting and stuff like that. Also, another big thing is that I didn't want to go into massive credit card debt for a wedding because at the end of the day, I'd way rather use that money to travel or do something type 2 fun, So I was talking to them about it, and my parents the past 10 years had thrown a lot of Christmas parties. So basically we had this thing where at my parents' house, they throw these massive Christmas parties every year. And what it included was everyone would basically enter soup into a competition. So everyone who attended the party would bring a massive soup in a crock pot and enter into a competition. And so the Christmas party was centered around the competition around the soup and Christmas music, and it was just a lot of fun events at this party. And so as our dates started lining up, we're okay, we realized that the date I could probably only get married was in December, end of December. So then I was talking to them and I was wait, why don't we do a spinoff of the infamous Harris Christmas party? So that's basically what our wedding is. Our wedding is a glorified Christmas party. The literal attire to the wedding is Christmas sweaters. The guests are wearing Christmas sweaters. It's going to be in my front yard at my parents' house, and there's going to be big tents, Christmas music playing, carolers coming, food trucks there. It's going to be a massive, amazing Christmas party. Which, honestly, just coming up with this whole plan, I was really grateful that my parents were so patient and helping me plan this because it just feels so much more like me and Bryce, because Bryce isn't very traditional either. We're not very formal people, and it's why would we have a formal wedding? We're not formal people at all. So this wedding just feels like us, and that's what I'm really appreciative of. And not to mention, I don't think anyone's gonna walk away from a wedding and be wow, that wedding was so nice, they really did it up. No, but I can guarantee you everyone's gonna walk away saying they had the best time of their lives. Because think about all the weddings you've gone to and just think about showing up to a wedding that's just a massive party with Christmas trees, just glorified Christmas, coffee cart, grilled cheese food truck, and then there's a literal competition going on during the wedding, a soup competition. And another thing is that because me and Bryce are athletes, that's another reason why we wanted to incorporate a competition, is just because we're like, well, things are so much more fun. Parties are way more fun when there's a competition involved. So obviously we're going to do something like that. If you've been following me on social media, you remember this past spring semester for me. I'm currently graduated from college. However, I got my teaching credential last year. So I finished up my teaching credential in spring of 2023. And that semester was great in a lot of ways, but also some like the worst, most chaotic times of my life, just because there's just so much going on and it was just a lot. So thankfully I had parents that were so involved in this, and like, because it's at their house, they helped me so much, like with the bookings and everything. So I was just really grateful that I feel like a lot of brides sometimes have to take on wedding responsibilities by themselves. Like my parents carried the team. Like, shout out to them. They carried the team because like while I was student teaching, while I was playing a sport, while I was running a full-time business, while I had classes, like they were helping me plan the entire thing. I literally couldn't have done it and gotten married at this time if it weren't for them. And you're probably like, well, Conley, it's a soup competition. Are you making a soup? You best believe I'm making a soup. But I don't want to disclose it because I know some people coming to the wedding will be watching this episode. So it's a surprise which one I'm making. But you can guarantee it's gonna be contender for sure. I also kind of want to dive back into the concept of getting married as someone who never dreamed about their wedding. Like that, honestly, maybe I'll title the podcast episode this, because it really does make, I think, for a more pleasant like wedding experience. I think that in a lot of ways, knowing what you want in your wedding, like for your wedding, makes it easier to plan. However, it's made the wedding less stressful because I don't have these like high expectations for like things I want. I don't need a certain color. Like I just was like kind of like, well, no, whatever looks best. Like my bridesmaids have asked me like certain things that they should wear. I'm like, literally wear whatever you want. Like obviously they have like a color scheme, but like I just had them pick black dresses and they could pick any black dress they wanted. So like, because I haven't had this massive vision for my wedding, it's made me kind of be like more relaxed and like less stressed out. Because also it's like at the end of the day, when you go to a wedding, are you really looking at the details? Are you really looking at the centerpieces? Like maybe if you're like a little OCD, you'd be doing that. But like for the most part, people aren't looking at the little details of weddings. So it's like, why are we stressing out about these things if no one's even going to notice them? So with that being said, wedding planning has been a little bit easier and less chaotic, just as someone who never really had a plan or dream for their wedding. And I don't want you guys to think that I'm some person who doesn't believe in marriage. Like marriage is like literally the coolest thing ever. I think it's amazing that you can start a life with someone. I think it's an amazing part of like my faith and everything. So I believe in marriage. I just think some of the traditions are a little, what's the word? Patriarchal. So I'm going to explain to you guys some of these traditional things and how I'm reframing them in my head to like fit what I believe about marriage and whatnot. My dad walking me down the aisle, for instance, like that is initially rooted in that like the bride is property. I obviously don't believe that. Like my dad is a big part of like who I am and everything of that sort. So it makes sense that he's walking down the aisle because he's a big part of my life. Boom. The white dress is supposed to symbolize like virginity. However, I'm like reframing it in my mind that the white dress symbolizes like God making me new and like a new beginning with my marriage. Another thing I'm doing is that a lot of people, when they get married, they're like announced as Mr. and Mrs. Bryce Thompson, for example. I am Conley. I can be introduced as Conley Thompson, but I'm not Mrs. Bryce Thompson. No. Absolutely not. I am Conley. I'm changing my last name. I'll be Conley Thompson. But you best believe Harris Hikers will always exist, okay? So don't you worry. Harris Hikers will be there. However, I will change my legal last name, and it'll be Conley Thompson. However, I'm not going to be introduced as Mrs. Bryce Thompson. A pet peeve of mine at weddings is that sometimes Bible verses can be taken very much out of context. I'm a Christian, and as a lot of you guys who are religious out there know, that it's the worst when people take Bible verses out of context and they use them to fit like their point. And it's just not it. It's not good. Never worked. So I'm including a lot of religious aspects to the ceremony. However, we ain't taking verses out of context here, all right? Like, that's not what we're doing. And for those of you who are Christian, you know what verses I'm talking about. I'm kind of going a little out of order, but I'm going to go into the other non-traditional things that I'm going to be doing at my wedding / not doing. First off, the bouquet toss, not doing it. It's not that I really have a problem with it to begin with. I just am not into it. Next one is the I don't even know what it's called, but you know when you wear that thing around your leg and then the guy goes under your like dress to go get the said like lace thing under your leg? Absolutely not. I would literally rather run the John Muir Trail, sprint it right now, than ever see my family and like have my family and like extended family and family friends see Bryce go under my dress and search for that. Like, no, that will not be happening. Another thing is I won't be doing a mother-son / dad-daughter dance. And I actually think these are really cute at weddings. However, I just kind of want it to be just me and Bryce. And like, because I just feel like that sometimes like everyone's just like sitting there and like, it's like a little bit awkward, and like I don't personally need to dance with my dad. Like, love my dad, like want him to walk me down the aisle, but like I don't need to like dance with him necessarily. And so it really have no problem with it. I just like personally didn't want to do it at my wedding. So the only people doing a dance is just me and Bryce. Another thing is that we're not leaving to go take pictures in the middle of the wedding. So a lot of people, once they get married, they'll leave with their photographer to go take pictures for the wedding. Oh my, I'm sorry, side note, there's this foghorn that keeps going on in the middle of the night. I live in like a little beach town, and this stupid foghorn has been waking me up in the middle of the night persistently. So I'm over it. I hate it. It's going off right now. Oh my gosh, I hope that's not a tsunami alarm. One moment. Hold on, I'm gonna check on my laptop to see if this is a tsunami alarm. Give me one moment. Okay, we're good. I was about to grab my keys, my hokas, and just start booking it down down the street. All right, we're fine. Everyone's good. So yeah, another thing we aren't doing is the whole photography after we get married. Just because, one, I feel like I don't want to leave for that long. Like my wedding, I feel like that sometimes when people leave, they're gone for like 2 hours. I've been to weddings where like people are gone for like such a fat amount of time, and like I honestly don't care. It's about them. Like they can do whatever they want. I just personally, as like the bride, don't want to be away from the wedding for that long. And also another thing is because I'm getting married in December, the sun goes down at 5. We get married at 5. So what we're going to do is have all of our pictures before, parents, grandparents, first look, everything's happening before, partially because of the darkness, and also I just don't want to leave the wedding. Another thing is I'm having my sister and one of my childhood friends give speeches, so I'm having 2 speeches on my side, and then Bryce is also having 2 speeches on his side, which honestly, that might be the part of the wedding that I'm most excited for. I'm a words of affirmation girly, and so I'm just so excited for that. Not that I'm getting affirmed. Like, they're talking about me and Bryce's relationship, but, like, I'm just excited for that part. Also, we're not doing a cutting of the cake situation. I am a big cake gal. However, have you guys recently seen the prices for wedding cakes? They are outrageous. Like, to get a wedding cake, it is minimum $1,500. Like, and to be quite frank with you, I'm not willing to spend $1,500 on a cake. So that being said, we're not doing the cake cutting. I know we could have done the thing where like a lot of couples will like get like a small cake and then like get Costco cake for everyone else. But I'm like, Costco cake sucks. Like, let's just do like a dessert bar and we can cut the whole shoving cake in each other's face. All right, fine. So side note, I've been seeing those videos all over like Instagram and TikTok where it's like the guy shoving cake in the wife's face without like consent. Like, clearly they didn't talk about it before, and it's like the biggest red flag ever. Like, it is so bad. The most obvious non-traditional thing we're doing is a soup competition. Like, what? Actually, fun fact, before we decided on the soup competition, me and Bryce thought about doing a dodgeball tournament, which would have been so iconic, but like logistically it couldn't work out. But I'm just so excited for the soup competition. I feel like it just adds that competitive edge that we all need at a wedding, you know? Another thing we're not doing is a money grab. I have nothing against this. I just personally didn't want to do it. And I also, on the program that I'm making for like the wedding, I put like a little Venmo for like the honeymoon if people do want to give money, but that's about it. I don't know if this is non-traditional, but when we exit the wedding, me and Bryce are just going to exit in sweats, because the very last thing I would want to do is go on a car ride in my wedding dress. Like, I feel like that would just be chaotic to begin with. So we're exiting in like white and black sweats, keeping it simple. Which, the sweats that I'm actually wearing, I did post on my Instagram story the other day and I linked them, and a lot of you guys ended up buying them, so I hope you like them. I'm gonna go on a tangent and just talk about really quick how weddings sometimes are very self-absorbed. And as a bride, I feel like as a bride I can say this, and luckily my friends who've gotten married aren't this way, but just in general, weddings are so self-absorbed, and like going into it, I was like very self-conscious of that. because I was like, no one wants to spend $1,000 on my bachelorette party. No one wants to give me like no one wants to have like 10 million celebrations for me. But like I've kind of realized that it's less about me and more about bringing the families together and like kind of having like an intermingling of like families, and kind of like the merging of two families is more of like the reason why we have these events. So I've had like fight thoughts of like, oh, like, I don't know, like, you know what I mean? When you open gifts for people, you're just like, oh, I don't want this to like be all about me. And so I get that it looks very self-absorbed sometimes, but I've kind of had to go over that hump that a lot of the times these events are less about me and more about like the family, if that makes sense. Like something that I did for my bachelorette party, which I felt like was like pretty low budget, was I just had all my bridesmaids go to Disneyland. And you're like, okay, Disneyland's expensive. Yeah, but like you're paying $200 for the entire like bachelorette party. Like that's it. That's all you're paying. And we packed lunches and stuff like that. So like if you think about it, $200 for a bachelorette party at Disneyland really isn't that bad. So I've tried to keep things affordable for like the people in the wedding. I know when I've been in other people's weddings, I've really appreciated when they've kept things pretty low budget for me, and especially with like bridesmaids dresses. I made sure like the website that they all got the black dresses from were like under $150, so we're keeping it affordable. But yeah, I know like there's some brides out there that will like require their bridesmaids and maids of honor to like spend thousands of dollars on them. And if that's you, I'm so sorry. That's rough. Like honestly, if I was gonna be in someone's wedding, I knew it was gonna cost me thousands of dollars, I think I'd have to back out, because like that's just like outrageous. We're gonna scoot back in and start talking about the wedding again. I want to talk about how weddings sometimes can just be so focused on like how the bride looks. I knew it going into it. Like when I got engaged, I was very aware that, you know, like there's gonna be a lot of like, you have to look this way, you have to look that way, you need to lose weight. Like there's like a lot of different pressures. And like another thing that's like a little misogynistic in my opinion about weddings is just like how focused the like everyone is on like how the bride looks. Like it's just like a lot, which I'm not trying to fool you guys. I want to look hot on my wedding day. Well, not hot. I want to look beautiful on my wedding day. Like I want to look pretty, and I feel like that's totally okay. But like I've had to check myself a few times and make sure that my mind has been in the right place, and that I haven't been like getting too caught up in like the looks of it all, because at the end of the day, it's about getting married. It's not about looking your 110% model status self, you know? Because like as I've now kind of entered into like, especially on TikTok, I've been on like the wedding side of TikTok. It's like what you should do for your wedding. It was like wedding checklist. It was like tan, nails, like boom, 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 boom. Like, but it wasn't just like tan nails. Like obviously like, I'll probably get a tan and get my nails done. But like it was like hydrofacial 6 months out, like glow facial 2 months out. Like it was like psycho how many things were on the beauty list. And I'm like, that's so sad that our society has made weddings about how pretty the bride can be. Like I think it's great to like want to look your best, want to look beautiful on your wedding day. Like I get it. Like I want Bryce to think I'm the prettiest girl on the planet. Absolutely. But also I feel like the stigmatism of trying the bride like trying to be the prettiest person ever is just a lot. And for me personally, that's just a lot of pressure that I don't want to have to deal with. For a while, I was actually debating on just not wearing makeup at all, because me and makeup have an interesting dynamic. My face and makeup just have a hard time collaborating. Like it is rough with me and makeup sometimes. And so I was even just thinking about not wearing it, and I've decided to do like a light makeup look. But it can be a little stressful when it comes to getting yourself all ready as the bride. However, I feel like my mindset when it comes to the whole thing has been pretty healthy. Like I'm not going to pay for the really expensive makeup artist. And if you're really into makeup and want to do that, that's fine. I just felt like that I needed to keep myself accountable. Like anything that had to do with like wedding weight loss, I would immediately click uninterested on TikTok or Instagram. Like I had to like kind of filter off those things to keep my mind in a healthy place, because honestly, I haven't tried to lose a single ounce for this wedding, and I am so effing proud of myself. Like, I haven't even been like, maybe I shouldn't eat that Reese's peanut butter cup because I'm getting married. Like, those thoughts have not even come in my head, which just shows how far of a long way I've come with like body image and eating. So also wanted to share that win with you. So when it comes to beauty, these are the things I'm going to do. I'm literally just going to do a face and makeup. It's going to be a kind of group effort, team effort with my bridesmaids. We're just going to all help out with my makeup, figure it out. Besides that, like I have like a friend who's doing my hair. She actually is the one who layered it, which I really am obsessed with. We're just going to curl it and do like a little like half up, half down situation. I'm going to get a spray tan, get my nails done, and we're calling it a day. Like calling it after that. Because if I try to go deeper and I'm like, man, maybe I should get a de-wrinkle laser treatment, like that's just a rabbit hole I really do not want to go down. So now I'm going to go into some of the things I'm a little worried about with my wedding and the things I'm excited about. So we're going to go into the worries first. Worries, number one, it rained, which it wouldn't be the end of the world if it did rain. It's just outside event. I feel like it would be a lot more fun if it was like open, we had fire pits and like hay, and that's like the plan and the goal. However, if it does rain, we're going to have to like kind of keep it in the tent, which I really hope it doesn't rain. Worry number two is that some idiot dude like says, have fun on your wedding night. Like I actually am not going to say anything. Like honestly, like whatever, do whatever you want. But like, I don't know why that triggers me so much. Like, no, like that. I'm not worried about someone saying that, but like, I just don't, like, I hope that I just don't hear it because that would just send me into a mind spiral right then and there. Two, I'm worried about getting caught in a conversation with someone. Shout out to my really self-aware folks out there, my self-aware girlies. We love you. But unfortunately, there's some very unself-aware girlies out there. Like, or like, especially like Karens, like older ladies that will like talk to you and like think that like you as the bride want to do nothing more than talk to them the entire time. Like, I'm a little worried about that. However, I do have a friend that I'm going to have, like, if I get caught in a conversation for too long, have her rescue me. So that's going to be, like, kind of my plan when it comes to talking to people at weddings. Obviously, like, I want to chit-chat with my friends and everything. But, like, you know what I'm talking about. Like, just the older people that, like, don't understand a social cue. That's what I'm a little bit worried about. And, of course, the last thing I want to be is rude. So I'm going to have my good old friend Allie Gaynor rescue me if that ever happens. Okay, again, a little bit out of order, but another thing I'm going to be doing is there's like this breakfast place by my house that I grew up going to all the time with my group of friends. And so me and my bridesmaids are going to be going to that breakfast place in the morning at like 7 a.m. before we start getting ready. And I'm just like so excited to down a fat stack of chocolate chip pancakes, like bacon, eggs, you name it, I'm eating it. Like there's no wedding fast for me. Like that is not happening. Like I am eating this stack of chocolate chip pancakes 1,000,000%. I don't know, and maybe I'll make a video about that because I feel like that just shows how cool food freedom is. And yeah, maybe I'll like do a little film of me eating my pancakes in the morning. And another thing I'm doing is one of my friends is also a content creator, and I'm having her come and film just a million TikToks and Instagram posts. Like her entire job the day is just to do my social media. Like I'm kind of obsessed with this because I feel like that I would be like, if I was like trying to handle my social media while getting married, I think I'd be kind of distracted on my phone, like trying to like film stuff. And I don't want to be filming anything. I want to be very present. So literally my friend is just like filming everything. She's doing like TikToks, Instagram reels, stories. She's like vlogging the entire thing. I obviously still have like my photographer and videographer who are going to be doing like stuff like that, but she's just doing specifically social media stuff for me. Okay, this more has to do with brides and less about like the actual marriage ceremony, but I have to name another pet peeve of mine. Well, it's not really a pet peeve. It's just like I would never do it. If you want to do it, more power to you, but I just couldn't wrap my head around doing this. It's lingerie parties. Now talking to people, I now realize this is more of a California thing. I don't think a lot of people in other states do this, but it's like basically a party that like your bridesmaids will throw you, and they like invite like usually like all the women in your life, usually like grandma, mom, like all of them, and they all like give you lingerie. Love my friends, love my mother, love the grandparents. I do not need them picking me out lingerie. I don't need them seeing me open lingerie. I don't need them envisioning me wearing lingerie, all right? Like, no, I'm sorry. Like, and honestly, I've been to lingerie parties where it wasn't weird at all. Like, I've had friends get married and they had lingerie parties. It was fun, chill, fine. I love that. And it was like fine. I just feel like knowing myself, I would be so uncomfy. Yeah, I just couldn't do it, I don't think. Like, that's just weird. So for me, it's not weird if a lot of people do it and it's not weird, but for me, I just feel like I would be so uncomfortable. Another thing for me personally, I just feel like I have a little bit of a moral problem with lingerie parties for myself personally because it's centered around the male gaze. Obviously, I want Bryce to think I'm hot. Duh. Like, come on. Okay, so I want my significant other to think I'm attractive. However, having a specific party for like lingerie, I feel like is very centered around the male gaze. And if you're doing it because you feel more empowered wearing lingerie, love that for you. Go off. However, for me, it just feels very male gaze-esque. Okay, we're going to move on from that interesting topic. I'm going to name the things I'm excited for about my wedding next to end this episode. I think what I'm most excited for is that the wedding itself is just very much me and Bryce. We're not formal, we're not traditional. It's very fun, type 2. It's very like competitive. I just think the vibes are just so me and Bryce, and it's perfect. I have always been obsessed with Christmas, and so like this is just a Christmas Wonderland party competition that could not be more me and Bryce, and that's so exciting. Two, I'm really just excited to spend time with Bryce. I feel like sometimes like the bride and groom, which is also another goal for my wedding, is that I want to spend a lot of time with Bryce. I feel like sometimes the bride and groom get pulled away a lot and don't end up spending a lot of time together in the evening. And I really just want to like sit with Bryce, talk with Bryce, and just be fully present with him, because I just feel like that's just so fun. And like we're here because we're getting married, so I hate to say it, but it has to, like, I want it to be about us, and like we should be the ones spending time together, if that makes sense. 3, I am so excited for the food, you guys. We have a coffee cart that has like the foam has like embroidered, like, or not embroidered, the foam is like the shape is like C and B for Conley and Bryce. So cute. We have a grilled cheese truck. You guys, the grilled cheese truck is fire. It's so good. We have 3 different sandwiches. There's gonna be like an original grilled cheese. There's gonna be a red wine braised short rib grilled cheese, and then like a blackberry jam jalapeno grilled cheese. I know that sounds weird, but guys, trust me, I've tried all of them. They're so freaking good. So I'm just so excited to eat some food at the wedding. Not to mention all the soups too. Gonna be trying all of them. And hopefully I win. 4, I'm really excited for the speeches, just to see my family friend Cade and then my sister Delaney speak, and then also Bryce's brothers speak. I just feel like it's just going to be such a special moment for us. Last but not least, number 5, I'm really excited about the small businesses I hired. Something about me and my family, I don't know if I've mentioned this yet, but me, my mom, and my dad are all small business owners. Unfortunately, Delaney isn't, but maybe she will be someday. But me, my mom, my dad, we're all small business owners, and so it's really important to us to be hiring specifically young female startup businesses. So kind of like our mission of like the whole like wedding was to be hiring female small businesses. I think we have like 6 small business owners that are girls that are like participating in the wedding. We have a girl making our table numbers. We have a girl doing like bakery stuff. We have a girl doing our flowers. It's like a lot of small female business owners, and we love that. Like, we're supporting our fellow small business owners. Because I'm a small business owner, I like really want to support other girlies who are doing the same thing, and so I just feel really blessed that I was able to do that. So that concludes today's episode, guys. Thank you so much for listening. I know I took 2 weeks off, and I'm gonna try to get at least one more episode out before the wedding, and then we'll be back in 2024 as a married woman. Still Harris Hikers, obviously, but I will legally be Conley Thompson. Thank you for watching, and please subscribe to all my channels, YouTube, follow me on Instagram, TikTok, and then follow me on Spotify. Thank you so much. Wish me luck in this wedding process, all right? See you guys.